Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering Operation Undead, which came out in 2024, and it's a Thai movie.
Yes.
But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. And I have to just say I am wearing the I'm a Woman of Convenience shirt, which is on our Teespring. And yeah, it's an inside joke that happened multiple years ago, but it's still very relevant. Still very relevant.
She embodies the statement daily.
Yes. But for tea, thought this would be appropriate, and from Jess's suggestion as well, I am drinking the Brutality's Night of the Living Red Apple Tea, which has red rooibos, apple pieces, cinnamon bark, natural apple, cinnamon, and caramel flavors.
And I am drinking from Olive Fusion in Breckenridge, Colorado, the Orange Cream Oolong Tea. And it has oolong tea, natural flavor, orange peel, and safflower.
And for our lovely tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review.
I'm sorry for the glare. There we go.
So for the summary, first, content warning.
Yes, for sure.
For violence relating to war and combat, also human experimentation, and this movie has a lot of gore. And I know zombie movies, yes, zombie movies tend to have a lot of gore, but this one definitely has.
Oh, they upped it in this one for sure.
They upped it. These group of soldiers find that the Japanese military is starting to invade, and when they invade, a virus is released that makes the Thai soldiers zombies. And that's it. That's all you gotta know.
Like, they purposely bring an infected Japanese soldier.
You mean Thai?
Yes. No, it was the original Patient Zero. Was a Japanese soldier, and they brought him in a crate intentionally. Yeah. Like, this was planned. Biological warfare.
Yes. Yeah. So for entertainment, I will say that, I know that in World War II, there were some atrocities when the Japanese were occupying China, and that has, they still have some conflicts about that. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't really aware of anything happening in Thailand, so I did some digging, and even though Thailand was considered an ally of Japan, the Japanese army essentially used it as almost like an area that they were occupied. So they were using forced labor and things like that. So, from watching the movie, it seems like they were doing commentary on what there's actually record of.
Well, yeah, they said that it was a fiction film based on historical events.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, what I didn't see is we know in World War II that unfortunately the Germans did human experimentation. Oh, yeah. And I think it's somewhat established that even the U.S. did to a degree.
Yeah.
The Japanese, I am not sure. I wouldn't be surprised because, so many other countries did, but I didn't hear any specific cases or facts around that. So I don't know on, if they actually conducted any experiments. So as far as, the accuracy to that, I don't know. But point is, it's a commentary on like what happened in World War II, and I, as far as like rating the movie, obviously I didn't grow up in that culture, so I don't share the same, I don't know how you would describe, I don't have the same like sentiment towards that like situation. But from a movie standpoint, it's a mixed bag. So for entertainment, I gave it a 7. I feel like Asian movies in general tend to do such a good job with establishing characters and making you really care about them. And I feel like, honestly, this one was a bit weaker with that. They introduced the zombies super quickly, like within like 20 minutes. And I felt like I barely got to know the characters.
Yeah, I think it was almost too many.
Yeah. It's like too many, but also like too surface level.
It was.
Because I mean, there's the one guy that like didn't want to join the military, and they had like very like surface level, like here's like different distinct people.
Yeah.
But they expanded, like once they turned into zombies, they kind of expanded on the characters a little bit more while they were zombies. But it's like, because they didn't really do a lot of establishment prior, I didn't really care that they became zombies. And then, obviously, like towards the end of the movie, once it kind of showed like what they were going through and kind of what he did, I cared more. But just in the beginning, it's like, I feel like the beginning is really an important part of a movie where you want it to be strong and start off strong. And that one wasn't, it had a strong ending, I feel like, but just a very weak beginning.
Yeah.
And because the zombies started off within like the first 20 minutes, the movie did feel a bit slow to me. It picked up towards the end, but overall, like it was, it just felt like it was the same.
The pacing was off.
High note. Yeah, the pacing was a little bit off.
Right.
But I will say, to their credit, I thought the zombies themselves were really interesting. I thought it was an interesting idea that they still kept a basic semblance of themselves. And it was almost like body horror, where you're like, I'm this creature now, and it's like I have this like hunger, but I'm still a person. Like that would be very terrifying. I also thought it was interesting that they could self-combust.
Yeah.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be a metaphor or symbolism for something that I just didn't catch on to. But yeah, so I don't know if I missed the symbolism or metaphor for that, so I don't know. But I thought it was cool. And yeah, like overall, the movie kind of gives me Train to Busan vibes, where like them being zombies, like it's a zombie movie, but it's more sad. And it definitely like specializes in being sympathetic towards the zombies themselves. And I thought it was also interesting that the zombies are like the primary characters. So like, it's like there's a lot of depth to this movie. Obviously with it, like, relaying back to actual real world events and just, commentary on that. But as far as looking at it, like the movie itself, I feel like it could have been stronger, but it definitely had a lot of interesting ideas that I wish that, I don't know, it's like, I just wish it was a more solid movie, because then it would have made the good ideas like even cooler, But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. No, I agree with most of that there. I personally gave it a 6.5. This movie was really depressing.
It is very depressing.
So depressing.
Yeah.
And normally I love zombie movies. Like, they're really interesting to me. They're fun to me. Even if they're not really, they aren't.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I might make this a clip because that was so obnoxious. Okay, I'm good. You're good. All right.
So even if they're not really, if they don't have much depth to it or character development, it's still fun for what it is. This one, though, I was sad. I was just sad.
Well, especially when you see, like, the Japanese army, like, them using their loved ones against them.
Yes.
Like,
and it was infuriating. We'll get there. But the special effects were really good. There were some, well, yeah, but it's a zombie movie. You gotta expect that.
But I had to stop it a few times because I'm like, I need a break because this is gross.
She really isn't one for gore.
Yeah, if you can't do gore, don't watch this movie.
This would definitely not be the movie for you if you can't do gore. But it's interesting. I do feel like they had too many characters to have any decent character development. You had the two main brothers, and some development there, but it could have been better. It could have been stronger for sure. I agree the pacing was definitely off. I feel like it was longer than it should have been. It definitely felt longer than it should have been. Like, at the 1.5 hour mark, which isn't really that long of a movie. Right. Let's be honest. It felt like it was 2 hours or so. And I was sitting here like, how much longer do we have on this movie?
I feel like if they had focused a bit more exclusively on the brothers and really expanded their story, that would have given the movie better stronger focus and made the ending that much more, like, sad.
Yes, for sure. Now, I agree with you as well that I feel like they introduced the zombies too early. Like, it became a problem way too early. But I also feel like it wasn't as big of a problem as it should have been.
Yeah, because they're kind of almost off on their own.
Yeah. They actively tried to stay away from people for the most part, and were eating animals.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if they, like, introduced the zombies so early because they're trying to show the atrocities that the Japanese military was doing.
Maybe.
But, I mean, if they had just made it longer for them to turn into zombies and then they still had the Japanese military, like, use their loved ones against them, that was pretty impactful. You were like, oh, sure. They are, like, it's not just about the human experiments. They are, like, being, like, it just like reestablished them as, like, terrible.
Yeah, these are the antagonists.
Yeah.
But it felt almost like a Reddit post, everyone sucks here. Like,
yeah. Well, I almost feel like they didn't want to show the zombies be too much of a problem because they were very obviously trying to make the Japanese military the bad guys. Yeah. And so if they made the zombies too much of a problem... They still
would have been the bad guys because they introduced the whole problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like they had to strike a weird balance.
And they kept saying, we need to capture them alive. You're going to create a bigger problem. Stop it. The lore behind these particular zombies was interesting. For sure, it definitely has issues in the realism scale, for sure. But I do like how they brought in the doctor or the scientist that created this whole issue to begin with. And they had him say, I'd rather be considered a traitor than create a monster. So that was interesting to see how the scientist that created the virus and all felt about it.
Yeah.
And his efforts after he did create it of, well, what kind of fail-safes can I put in here? Because this is a problem. And if they use it, which we know they're going to because I created it and they like what it's doing, it's going to be a bigger problem.
I feel like that happens so many times, though, where it's like a scientist or whoever creates something new.
He's like, oh
and
no,
then they're
I
like,
effed up.
Oh, people are going to use this for bad things.
I effed up. What can I do to make this a little better and kind of redeem myself a little bit?
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a problem. And we need to nerf it a little bit. So I did like that. I like also how they sprinkled in the lore throughout the movie and information about the zombies.
Yes.
Instead of shoving it all in your face all at once, like they usually do in these kinds of movies.
Yeah, I like the slow reveal. It definitely, like, kept me more engaged.
Yes. Though, at a certain point, it felt like, okay, how much more can you add on to this? Like, it's already a problem. I think we're good now. You don't need to keep upping the stakes at this point. And then at the very end, they added even more. And I'm like, oh, dear God. Like, at that point, I was just done. So, but it was decent. It'll probably make you sad. Just so you know. But it's, for what it is, it's more of a drama than like an action-y kind of zombie movie.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got on entertainment.
So, maybe you will change my mind. But for realism, I gave it a hesitant 3. Just because, like, I was going it from the perspective of a situation like that actually happening. And, not saying the Japanese military specifically, but I'm saying in general, we have repeated history of militaries of different countries conducting experiments and organic, I think it would be called organic warfare.
Biological warfare.
Thank you. Biological warfare. Sometimes just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And other times, they know the consequences and
the human race is very curious. Very
in
curious.
A very, yeah.
And sometimes it's not in a good way.
No. Yeah. Yep.
We just want to see what happens.
Yeah. So from the circumstantial perspective, I can 100% see that happen, unfortunately.
I could, yeah, for sure.
And I could also see a military of a country, using loved ones, their enemies' loved ones against them, unfortunately.
Absolutely. That actually happens all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes.
And the gore itself, the effects were pretty good and super gross. I did kind of, I guess this is more entertainment, but I did appreciate that they very much stuck with you gotta, like, kill the zombie in the head type of thing or burn them alive. Well, I mean, no, it wasn't, because some of them still survived when they were burned alive, but it is mainly like you gotta kill them in the head. No?
Nope.
I'm trying to...
A lot of them got head wounds and headshots.
Okay.
That was another thing. It was fire. Fire was their weakness in this one. Supposedly.
Then, because I'm thinking about, I forgot the character, but he fell in a pit, and then there's one that had his head, like, in half, and
yeah, his brain was missing, and he was still moving.
Oh. Yeah, okay, that's pretty strong evidence. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, so...
And then he jabbed him through what was left of his head, and he was still moving. Like, he stabbed him with one of the wooden spikes through what was left of his head and kept moving. He even pulled himself off of it.
Okay, never mind. I blacked out
and then he
that.
set him on fire. Yeah. And that supposedly worked.
Well, okay, so going back to, like, the characters themselves, like, in the very short 20 minutes to show the characters, I will say, like, the different, like, reactions to being, what's the word? What's the word for when you're forced to go into the army?
Enlisted. Drafted.
Okay, thank you. All right. Like the different reactions to being drafted into the army, I thought
or conscripted or called up, because they were already soldiers at that point.
Okay, enlisted or yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Called up.
Yeah, I think that that was good, and also I don't know why, but I felt like very connected to the mother's reaction, where it's like, you already took away my husband, you want to take away
both of my sons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know why, but that had never occurred to me before. It's like, yeah, if you're a mother and all you have are sons, like, that would be such a stressful time. I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, so it's like, you know, the human element, both the good, the neutral, and the not so good, I think was pretty on par. But yeah, the zombies, I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, because
I will. Let me at him.
I mean, I guess, like, if we think of it, because I know we've mentioned this on the podcast before, there is a disease, I think it specifically, like, tends to take over rats, but there is a disease that, you know, is kind of like a zombie virus. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, whenever I think of a virus, I would imagine that you would have
ants or rats.
I think, or maybe both.
Might be.
But I could see, to me, if I had to think of, like, a realistic virus for a zombie, I would imagine you would have a semblance of yourself left, but you, like, it just, like, almost takes over, like, the primal part of your brain, where you're like, okay, I have a fragment of myself, but I have this overwhelming, like, thirst or hunger, and I can't, and I have to quench it.
Your lizard brain takes over. Need food, need shelter.
Yeah, because that, at least to me, I mean, it would be awful, but to me, that would make at least slightly more sense than the typical zombie on, like, oh, you just lose yourself and you're just, like, wandering around. I mean, I guess it depends on...
It depends on the type of virus,
like, if it's a parasite, it's a parasite, I could see you completely losing yourself. But if it's a virus...
Well, I could see if it was a strain of the rabies virus as well. Losing most of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if not all. So, it really depends on what they created it based on. Because they probably... I'm not saying they did, because they don't actually tell us in the movie. But most likely, they took a virus, the base virus of something else, and modified it.
Right.
So, it depends on what they based it on. Yeah. Rabies or that particular kind of virus. I forget what it's called. I used to know what it was called.
You would.
I was curious. It was interesting. Humans are curious beings. Morbidly so sometimes. But it was interesting. So. Yeah. I'm sorry, you may continue.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's just so many variables for how you can make a zombie. So,
I don't know why I did that. There was some air trapped in between my lips and the liquid. It just, okay.
All right. But yeah, there's just so many different variables on how you can make a zombie. So I'm just not gonna touch it.
Oh, that's not what I'm gonna touch on.
What is it?
Oh, we'll get there.
Well, it's your turn.
Oh,
so.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I give it a 1.5.
Oh.
I give it a 1.5. They're mostly good, and I can understand the reactions and things, but just scroll to that here.
I'm breezing through this tea, and you still have so much left.
So, I don't understand the disintegrating thing. Not that is part of the failsafe, and I get that. How he coded it that way to implement that and have a time limit, I don't understand. That's really cool. It's a great concept and everything. But I'm talking about the particles themselves. When he starts disintegrating, it turns to black dust, black sparkly dust, and flows, not with the wind or anything, just of its own free will, apparently, defying all laws of physics, and then goes everywhere. We initially see it go into like a stream, and it revives a flower. Not anything else around it, just that one specific flower, apparently. Even though they said that it has a regenerative effect on nature in general. So I feel like in a stream, it should affect pretty much the entire freaking stream bed. But no, just that one flower in particular. But it's the way it flowed. I'm like, absolutely not. That's not how this should work. This makes no sense. No. Then the zombies eating out of the person's head was an interesting and cool effect, if gross. However, where's the skull? Like, they had most of the face intact, but the skull was nowhere to be found. And they're eating it in such a way that pieces of the skull should be seen. There's nothing there. It was all like jelly. Like, there's nothing there. That's not how it works. That's not how anatomy works. No. They did this multiple times. And if it was just once, I would have been like, okay. I'll leave them that one. No, they did it like 2 or 3 times. Maybe more, because they had a couple of faces, too, that were on the ground and standing with nothing supporting it. No. So, again, the effects are interesting and gross, and they look decent, but they're not plausible. They're just not. Also, why the black eyes of one of the main brothers? When he gets really angry and all and decides, you know what? We're going to make our own army and go after their side just because F you in particular, basically. They never explain that. It's a cool effect, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, why? And then it goes away when he comes back to his senses, I guess. And has a change of heart. They realize that they're going to have their loved ones used against them. And they go there to stop them. And then they stand there and wait until all of them are shot and bleeding out and dying and or dead before they run in there. What? Like, why did you even go then? If you're not going to attack the other side before they shoot to try to save your loved ones, why even go to try to save your loved ones? They didn't even try. They waited until the shooting was actively finished.
Yeah, I kind of chalked that up to like a pacing issue or an editing issue where, yeah.
That scene drove me nuts in 10 different ways. Like, you could have done literally anything else. Why did you even go to quote unquote save them if you're not going to actively try to save them? You showed yourselves and then stood there and waited for them to finish shooting your loved ones that you supposedly went there to save. Then you run out and you don't even attack them until you've, like, cried over your dead loved ones. It doesn't make sense, and it's infuriating. Then when the other brother stops his disintegration and reforms himself, no, absolutely not. Not how physics works. That's not how it would work anyway. We already touched on that. But to then reform yourself and prevent it from happening, no. No, pick a lane. No. And they said that it was based on a time limit. But if they can just be like, no, you know what? I'm not ready yet. I'm not done yet.
I'm not ready yet.
No. I'm not all done. I'm not done. I'm gonna keep going, and I got stuff to do. I still got things that I need to finish and accomplish before I leave. I get in the plot of the movie why they put it in there, but no, that's not how this works. They also should have infected a lot more people than it showed they did. It should have been a lot bigger of a problem than it was. They said there were a few different kinds of zombies, and it was just like this one particular group that I guess they went with that strain, but I feel like it would have a failure rate still, and it wouldn't necessarily act the same in all of them to where they would all still have a sense of themselves still. It just didn't quite...
Because viruses mutate, and then that will
Exactly,
change
and they
symptoms.
mutate a lot more frequently than, like, a bacteria.
Well, from my understanding, it's like pretty much every single time it passes to a different person.
It has the potential to mutate. Yes. So, no. And apparently at the end of the movie, the last scene, like end credit scene or whatever, implies that even after they're burned, they can still come back.
Yeah, that's why I was like, the fire doesn't seem to be the one.
Well, neither does dealing with the head, so...
Yeah, so it seems like they just can't be killed.
I mean, I feel like if you put the body through a wood chipper or crushed it entirely, then it's kind of hard to keep moving and coming back from that. But also harder to deal with, to be fair.
And that could potentially be a good way to spread the virus.
Potentially. Now, ideally, fire or a high enough temperature should kill it off completely. Hopefully. But, so maybe their fire just wasn't hot enough? They need to cremate them, basically.
Which would be, isn't cremation like 4,000 or 5,000 degrees? Like, it
Something
has
like
to be
that.
like
yeah, because
hot.
it also turns the bones to ash, or at least the vast majority of it.
Yeah, you can't do regular fire for that.
No.
Which is why serial killers don't get away with, with cremating bodies.
You need ridiculous accelerants and or an oven designed for that.
Yes.
Or a kiln of some kind designed for that. So, no. But also, that info should have been given sooner. I get that they wanted to use it as a teaser. This could have a
sequel or whatever. Yeah.
Leave it open, but no. No, pick a lane. It needs to have some kind of thing. Otherwise, it's too powerful. It needs to have some kind of weakness.
Yeah.
So, but that's That's largely what I got. It's some of it's nitpicky with the gore and anatomy and all, but no. Just no. I can see biological warfare, and I can even see a virus being created to have this type of effect. But no.
Yeah. Well, and it just sucks because, like, I love movies like this where it's commentary on something that actually happened, and then I also like when they make the monsters or whatever more sympathetic.
Yeah.
And so it had all of the ingredients for me to really like the movie, but it's like the execution was just off.
You killed the mom and the pregnant fiance. Yeah. And kids.
Yeah.
You killed children. In the movie, we saw bits and pieces. No.
I mean, to be fair, though, it isn't effective.
I know. That's why I took it off of the entertainment scale. Not the realism. The realism, 100% that would happen. Just saying. It's a zombie movie. It's expected. We don't like having to see it, but it's expected.
But yeah, it's like, if you want to see, the type of movie that we described where it's supposed to be more symbolic and that makes the zombies more sympathetic, it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
But I probably won't watch it again. And
I probably won't. It's very sad.
I feel like it's like all I can compare this to for like similar sympathetic zombie movies is Train to Busan.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Train to Busan it's not really that sympathetic until like you see more of like the pivotal characters turning.
Toward the end.
Yeah. But
and especially the ending.
Yeah, the ending is heartbreaking. But it's like, but the pacing on that movie is so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and there's a lot more threat in that movie. Train to Busan all around is way better.
Yeah. So as far as like zombie movies,
yeah.
So yeah, it's like if this movie had better pacing. And also, spent a lot more time on the character growth and also focused on maybe like, like we mentioned, like the brothers or a smaller group of characters in general. I think that would have definitely made it a little bit more engaging.
Yeah, for sure.
But thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. And if you would like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and a PayPal available. You can see our lovely merch modeled by the lovely Alyssa here, along with many, many others on our Teespring. And you can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye!